So is the assumption that the reason the DOJ is not releasing any more information on Jeffrey Epstein is because it's somehow trying to protect Donald Trump?
Well, I think throughout the Trump years, both the first administration and now this second administration, and in between, it has always been an incredibly sensitive topic. So again, that weird juxtaposition of the MAGA guys going Jeffrey Epstein, and Trump, basically kind of cowering, and there was a moment which I reported on, at the end of the last administration when he became very wary about the arrest of Ghislaine Maxwell and asked whether or not, what could she say, what would she say, and should he pardon her?
Well, he certainly said, "Oh, she's a very nice woman. I wish her well," as she was, shortly after she was arrested for, and accused of grooming young women.
Yes, but behind the scenes, and this is, as I say, I reported this was a discussion. Everybody around him was kind of like, "Oh God, do we want to, we hope she won't say anything, but we really hope he doesn't pardon her."
So, do you think the conspiracy theorists stop now?
No, this is as I said in the post I did this morning, that this is Kennedy assassination level stuff. It just feeds on itself, and it feeds on itself for a lot of reasons, not to mention Donald Trump at the center of this, but also because overwhelmingly, the people who have spoken about this, who with great authority, who have reported on this, who have made themselves experts on this, don't know anything. They certainly never met Jeffrey Epstein. They were not part of his circle, of his life. And conversely, all of the people who do know something, who were in this inner circle, have scrupulously said nothing. First, because not least of all because they might then be implicated in knowing Jeffrey Epstein.
So who are you talking about?
From Bill Clinton to Larry Summers to, a long list. And there have been a long list of people who have known Jeffrey Epstein. And in fact, you can go so far as to say anybody who was anybody knew Jeffrey Epstein certainly at a moment in time. And of course now no one wants to have known Jeffrey Epstein. There's one point that, and after he was arrested, I think that the New York Times said, how did they put it? It was kind of like shocking. They said anyone who has shaken hands with Jeffrey Epstein in the last 20 years is worthy of suspicion.
So you spent time with Jeffrey Epstein. Why did you start spending time with him?
In 2014, he asked me, and I had some contact with him before this, but in 2014, he asked if I would be interested in writing a book about him. And I said, probably not. But Jeffrey is charming. Jeffrey is accessible. Jeffrey is it's kind of like, what's not to like?
Well, what's not to like was the fact that at that stage he'd already been in jail for soliciting underage prostitutes.
No, of course. But I'm there as a journalist, and that was part of the story. And I considered it. So I said, and part of his then offer was you can come into my house at any time. You can be part of this kind of ongoing discussion or salon or whatever you might want to call it, that he had virtually every day, and filled with people you might want to meet, from Bill Gates to Peter Thiel to, as I say, Larry Summers to Ehud Barak to Steve Bannon to
Joe Ito from MIT, Jess Staley, who is the CEO of Barclays, Prince Andrew, Leon Black, the founder of Apollo.
Noam Chomsky.
Yeah, that one was very confusing to me, Noam Chomsky.
The Dalai Lama.
You met the Dalai Lama?
Yes, the list goes on. The list is extraordinary.
Did you actually meet the Dalai Lama at Jeffrey Epstein's?
Indeed.
Whoa, I don't think I knew that.
And it's a.
I don't know why I'm laughing. It's just so surprising. What was he
everything
doing
is surprising.
That's
so. One of the answers to why I would go or why anyone would go, it was always extraordinary. There was one time I came in and you go through these immense castle doors, and they opened kind of like in a horror film.
And this is his house on the Upper East Side, which is rumored to be the largest private house in Manhattan. Yes,
and it's sort of open like, in those films, like, Igor opening the door to the castle, and you came in, and then was a large a kind of formal reception area, and then the house went up several stairs into the main main part of the house. And so I came in, and he was standing at the top of the stairs.
Wait a minute, who was? The Dalai Lama or
no,
Jeffrey Epstein?
Jeffrey was standing there with another guy who looked very familiar. Naggingly familiar. Had I gone to high school with him?
Right. Did you know? Was he an actor?
He wasn't probably an actor because he was pretty ugly.
Character actor.
Yes, but then. Jeffrey said, "Oh, Bill, Michael," and even then it was a kind of a second. But then I got, "Oh, okay, yes, Bill Gates." So it was always that kind of experience. So you went back. You went once, you went twice, you kept going back.
So he enticed you with the bait of interesting people. And was he filming these people having sex and then blackmailing them? That's what we're led to believe.
I certainly never saw any evidence of that. And I would say, on the other hand, the contrary point of that is that everybody showed up there, certainly willingly, and because they adored this guy. This was a collection of people who arrived at Jeffrey's and didn't want to leave, and then would stay there for meal after meal and while away the day. And they were not there because they were being blackmailed. They were there very clearly because they wanted to be there out of pure choice.
So I understand. What was the role of all these young women that were around Jeffrey Epstein at events like this, where he was having his rolling salons, which sound a little bit like sort of intellectual freak-offs? Perhaps without the baby oil.
Well, yeah. Although it's not that different, except for the quality of the people there, who are. Just imagine any office around any conference room where a discussion, especially in Washington, because much of the discussion was always about public policy, about what was going on in around the world. This was all a kind of flow of information. And it was incredibly valuable. It could be incredibly valuable information.
And what was the Dalai Lama talking about?
Well, there was always a steady stream of people coming to try to get money from Epstein.
And where did his money come from?
That's clearly a mystery. That remains a mystery. Probably a central mystery. So when people talk about the blackmail and the clients, I think that's a way to avoid the fact that the real mystery is a much more complicated one. Where did this money come from? I don't know, and I don't know anyone who knows Jeffrey who actually knows. I have a few things that I've once asked Epstein directly about this, and he said, I run a reverse Ponzi scheme. In an actual Ponzi scheme, you make it seem like money that does not exist is there, that it exists. I make money that does exist seem like it doesn't exist.
So sort of tax loopholes and strange Cayman Island type shenanigans.
Yeah, well, the example he gave is if a very wealthy man gets a divorce and can hide $100 million, then he gets to save $50 million.
Right.
And then Jeffrey gets half of that.
This podcast was produced by Devon Rogerino, Anna von Ursen, and it was edited by Jesse Millward.